I'm not surprised. My recorder could not capture the outro cinematic, just as it could not capture the intro cinematic. Thankfully, the two videos are located where the game is installed in big format. And I have a converter, and I have transferred them to AVI files, and I will be merging them along with this. Basically an outro, a final review of Owning. What did I think of the game overall? Interesting. There were good moments of the game, enjoyable game design, and then there were bad moments, of which there were many. Some of the bad moments were caused by me. Pilot error and lack of skill. I'm going to assume that the faulty controls, as I accused it, is on my end. My inability to execute the varied commands that Konoko can perform during gameplay. I have to assume this is on me. Maybe it's just something that works better on a Mac than a PC. Maybe it's something that worked better on a Rockstar Games' translation to a PlayStation 2. But I assume those moves definitely would have made my life more interesting. But to be fair, my moves definitely did not make the boss battles more interesting. You had Stronger and Stronger twice. You had a Deadly Brain twice. The second instance being, of course, Shinatama. And you had the Benny Hill chase involved in the final boss battle, which, from my understanding, would have at least been a little different had I not taken out Griffin there and removed my ability to get TCTF support. How different? Not different enough to warrant its own video ending. The ending cinematic, I checked the game folder, is the same. It's just outro.bic. Like, well, that's cool. So I didn't get like a good ending or a bad ending. I got a harder ending, I'm assuming. I would have gotten awesome things, to maybe some hypos or shit to help me out there. So, I chose a harder path for myself. I'm going to assume. I might check up somewhere on the internet later to see what happens if you actually keep Griffin alive. And I imagine you folks will tell me on your own what the consequences of my actions were in that regard. That's fine. I really don't feel like exploring that myself, as I'd have to go through the entire final level again, which would be easier now that I have a better sense of what the fuck I'm doing, and hopefully, the fight with Boss Burrow would be more interesting. Just the AI programming itself, for a third-person shooter / beat-em-up, I would expect the AI to be far more competent than what it ended up being, in, say, a complex strategy game, and yet it seemed as if they suffered from faulty and wonky control mechanics too. You would have situations where they'd fall off to their deaths, and of course, all the other situations where they get fucking confused. Confused and stupid as shit. I would think that perhaps a better way to stage the Boss Barrow fight is not to have him do that all sorts of crazy firing shit. The best way would have to be, you get so close to him that he exudes his energy by, attacking you in melee, and you just being an expert at dodging, and then you taking advantage of him. Or perhaps, I don't know, it would probably help if he brought along a fucking loaded gun. The boss fights were disappointing, extremely and immensely, every single one of them. And the normal fights themselves, it's a beat-em-up game, so of course you're gonna see lots of varied opponents. I thought those were alright. They had their own strengths, they had their own moves. Obviously, during the course of gameplay, I got very frustrated at numerous occasions. That's not so much the game's fault, though, as it being a projection of my own self-loathing, due to basically me being incompetent. It's, you all saw me work again to get a handle on the controls and the special moves. I sort of stopped caring whenever I felt like, I just don't have the time to properly execute them, and they're not reliable. My thoughts on it, anyway. Unlike the, opponent's moves, which seem to be so goddamn reliable, and their ability to immediately, roll and pick a weapon up that's 15 yards away and shoot me with it with perfect, pristine accuracy. So yeah, it's an alright game. Would I play it again? Probably not. No, probably not. Probably not. I'm good. There's a hard difficulty setting, there's also an easy difficulty setting. I'm good. But Grimith, you could do the Shinatama Deadly Brain thing again, and you could see what happens if... No, I chose the path that I wanted to choose, and that's alright with me. No regrets. This was part of the Rewarding the Rewarders opportunity I offered back in late July 2012. Several of you were surprised that I actually went through with finishing the game. I made a commitment whenever I asked for those suggestions, and short of Sega and Shining Force, everything that Sega did involving that, and accounts getting copyright strikes and outright deletions, that made me stop Shining Force. I would have persisted in that otherwise, even though I thought about as highly of that game as I did this. So I've actually boycotted Sega products. It still exists. I don't have any interest in playing any more of them. Short of that, though, yeah, I plan on continuing and heading through the rest of my list, which actually consists entirely of games from Tiny Shopkeeper now, with the exception of stuff from Mysterious JG and Bobo the Vulture. You two really need to fucking get on that. Like, when are we gonna do stuff? Like, what the fuck? Bobo, I know you're listening to this. What the fuck is wrong? It's April now, I mean. Eventually I'm going to die, so... You don't have a whole lot of time left. That's what I'm trying to tell you. But yeah, other than that, well, it was alright. Pros and cons. I think the cons outweighed the pros, but it was a quirky enough thing, that a game that I otherwise would not have played, and it has some merits. Yeah. So, what's going to happen is I'm going to stop talking, and you guys are going to be exposed to the game's introduction, which is short. Just a little glimpse of what it would have looked like. No amazing information or knowledge pass. It's just one of those, like, fucking anime intros. They're all, like, flashy and cool and shit. And then an outro, where the credits will roll, and I actually won't talk during those. If that means I end up having to deal with a content ID match, then so be it. Maybe this video will vanish, or who knows what it'll do. But I look forward to seeing you all in future Let's Get On with Adventures. I suppose we're done here. Take care, everyone. I didn't think this would be the final mission. I thought the game would string me along and fucking kick me in the ballsack a little bit longer. But there you go. Alright, everyone. Take care.
When I blew the processors, I bought us some time, but at a horrible cost. The dead and the dying now line the streets, but it's impossible to deny the problem any longer. My father's work may prove to be the salvation of the afflicted after all. Mankind as we knew it is doomed. The chrysalis will change us all. Let's hope it's for the better.